This is a little demonstration to help you remember the difference between a positive and negative skew. The mnemonic comes from Michael Britt, and it's a left foot to represent a negative or left skew, and a right foot to represent a positive or right skew. If you just want to draw your left and right foot, or a representation of Flintstones, left and right foot, on a Y and X axis, that will help get us started on this mnemonic. Now the left or negative skew is, those terms are interchangeable, left or negative skew. That is because the smaller toes or the tail of this skew points to the left or toward the negative numbers on the negative number line, if you were to imagine this was a number line here. The right or positive skew, the tail points right, and again points to the positive numbers on a number line. So we have left or negative skew with our left foot, and a right or positive skew. We're going to use our right foot to remember this. Now, if you put some numbers on your x-axis, let's pretend that the x-axis represents AP scores, whether somebody got a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And notice we're writing those numbers in ascending order on both x-axes. And then we're going to have the frequency, or the number of people who, or the relative frequency, the percent of people who scored that on the AP test on the y-axis. So you can just put arbitrary numbers there. In a left or negative skew, the big toe represents what most people score. And notice this is the highest point of the distribution. So in a left or negatively distributed bar graph, you could think of each toe as a bar, most people score high. And that's a fact you want to write about negative skew. And it's somewhat counterintuitive in that negative doesn't mean bad, it just means the way that the average is being pulled. So negative skew, most people actually have a high score. In a negative skew, most people get a 5 on the AP test, for example. Whereas in a positive or right skew, most people have low scores. So again, it's somewhat counterintuitive to say something is a positive skew, yet most of the people do poorly or have low scores. Again, it's called positive or right skew because of the few people who don't have the mode. But the mode, the most frequently occurring score, is low in a positive skew, and the mode, or the most frequently occurring score in a negative skew, is high. That's our first facts that we want to memorize about each skew. In a left or negative skew, the few people who score unlike the mode, or the most frequent score, those people pull the average down, or the mean down. So again, in a negative skew, most people get a 5 on an AP test, yet a few people have lower scores that pull the average down. So the average is lower than the mode in a negatively skewed distribution, unlike a normal distribution where the mean, median, and mode, the measures of central tendency, are all the same. In a skew, the average is messed up. It's pulled down by a few people who don't have the same score as the people who are in the mode group. So these little pinky toes represent those few people who pull the average down. And if you forget where the average is going, or where these few people are scoring, remember, look at your x-axis. Most people score high in a negative skew, and a few people score low and pull the average down. In our positive skew, most people score low, but a few people get a high score, and they pull that average up. Again, so the skew is referring to what's happening to the mean, or the average. In a positive skew, most people score low, but a few people pull the average up. In a negative skew, most people score high, but a few people pull the average down. Now, if we were to look at the median, right, the median is the middle score, and that is, right, going to be in about the 50% of people are going to score above the median, and 50% of the people are going to score below. Now, it doesn't look that way with this toe, but remember, most of the scores are falling with the big toe and the middle toe. So in a negative skew, the median is lower than the mode. In a positive skew, the middle number is higher than the mode. So you could write a fact about the median in each. But remember, the median is still the middle number. It just looks a little off because we are looking at a skewed distribution. Thanks to Michael Britt from the Psych Files for this foot mnemonic.